Imagine a chilling scenario. Not a physical assault, not a sudden accident, but something far more insidious. You are standing in a crowded room, a party perhaps, or a professional gathering. You offer a warm smile, extend your hand, initiate a conversation. And then, it happens. A subtle turn of the back, an averted gaze, a dismissive silence. In that instant, an invisible force slams into you. A profound sense of shock, then a tightening in your chest, a hollow pit in your stomach. It feels like a punch, yet there is no bruise. It feels like a burn, yet there is no scar. This isn't just disappointment. This isn't merely embarrassment. This, the silent violence of social rejection, registers in your brain with the same searing intensity as a broken bone or a deep laceration. It is a wound you cannot see, yet it can cripple, debilitate, and fundamentally alter the course of a life. For centuries, human suffering has been categorized, compartmentalized. Physical pain, the agony of the body, readily acknowledged, treated with urgency. Emotional pain, the anguish of the mind, often dismissed, relegated to the realm of the subjective, the less real. But what if this distinction is fundamentally flawed? What if the ache of loneliness, the sting of being unwanted, the crushing weight of ostracism, are not merely metaphorical expressions of distress, but manifestations of a primal pain, etched deep into our very biology? This is the profound, often unsettling truth modern neuroscience and psychology are uncovering. Rejection hurts not just like physical pain, but in many critical ways, as physical pain. We are, at our core, social creatures. Our survival, through millennia of evolutionary struggle, was inextricably linked to our ability to connect, to belong, to be accepted by the tribe. To be cast out was, quite literally, a death sentence. The wilderness offered no solace for the lone individual. Food, shelter, protection from predators, all dependent on the collective. This ancient blueprint, though thousands of years removed from our modern, complex societies, remains hardwired into our brains. The fear of social exclusion, therefore, is not a learned neurosis, but a fundamental survival mechanism, a warning signal as potent and vital as the sensation of touching a hot stove. It is a system designed to protect us from the ultimate threat, isolation. But the pain of rejection is far more intricate than a simple alarm bell. It is a multi-layered assault on our core psychological needs, capable of unraveling our sense of self, our place in the world, and even our very capacity for rational thought. From the casual dismissal in a crowded room to the devastating rupture of a romantic relationship, from the sting of a failed job interview to the systemic exclusion faced by marginalized groups, rejection is a universal human experience. Yet, its profound impact is often underestimated, its invisible scars left untreated, perpetuating cycles of hurt, withdrawal, and even aggression. To understand why rejection cuts so deep, we must journey into the intricate landscapes of the human brain, delve into the evolutionary pressures that shaped our psyche, and confront the unsettling reality that our social fabric is as fragile and as vital as our physical well-being. This is not merely a philosophical inquiry. It is a critical exploration into the very essence of what it means to be human, and why our connection to one another is not just a desire, but a profound, biological imperative. Our exploration into the agonizing depths of rejection begins with a revelation that has reshaped our understanding of human suffering: the astonishing overlap between physical and social pain in the brain. For generations, the medical community, and indeed society at large, largely viewed emotional distress as distinct, and often secondary, to physical injury. A broken arm was undeniably real. A broken heart, while acknowledged, was often considered a psychological metaphor, something one simply got over. But groundbreaking neuroscientific research in the early 21st century began to challenge this fundamental assumption, demonstrating that the brain's response to social rejection is far from metaphorical. It is, in fact, profoundly physiological. In 2003, researchers Naomi Eisenberger, Matthew Lieberman, and their colleagues at UCLA conducted a seminal study using functional magnetic resonance imaging, or fMRI. They placed participants in a scanner and had them play a virtual ball-tossing game called Cyberball. Initially, participants believed they were playing with two other people online, who would toss the ball to them. However, unbeknownst to the participants, after a few throws, the other players would systematically stop throwing the ball to them, deliberately excluding them from the game. What the researchers observed was nothing short of astonishing. As participants experienced this digital ostracism, their brains showed increased activity in two specific regions: the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex, or DACC, and the anterior insula. Now, these aren't just any brain regions. The DACC and anterior insula are key components of what neuroscientists refer to as the pain matrix, a network of areas primarily responsible for processing the unpleasantness, the distressing quality, of physical pain. When you accidentally burn your hand or stub your toe, these are the very regions that light up, signaling that something is profoundly wrong. Eisenberger's study provided compelling evidence that the same neural circuitry involved in processing physical pain is activated when individuals experience social rejection. This wasn't just a fleeting emotional response. It was a deep, visceral alarm bell ringing in the same neurological pathways that scream, "Danger," when the body is under assault. Consider the implications of this. When someone says, "My heart aches," or "I feel gut punched," after a breakup or a significant social slight, they are not merely speaking poetically. Their brains are, in a very real sense, registering a form of pain that shares fundamental mechanisms with a physical injury. The feeling of a heavy heart after a romantic rejection, or the hollow ache of loneliness experienced by someone who has been ostracized from their community, can be understood not just as emotional turmoil, but as a genuine physiological response to a threat against our social self. This research provided the first hard neurological evidence that social pain is not a lesser form of suffering, but a distinct, powerful, and biologically rooted experience that warrants the same recognition and empathy as physical agony. It underscores that our connections to others are not just a luxury, but a fundamental need, protected by the most ancient and potent warning systems in our brain. The invisible wounds of rejection, it turns out, bleed on a neurological level, leaving imprints as profound as any physical trauma. The concept of social pain as a neurologically validated phenomenon is inextricably linked to our evolutionary history. For our early ancestors, the human species survived not through individual might, but through collective strength. A lone hominid wandering the savanna was easy prey. A coordinated group could hunt, gather, and defend itself against far greater threats. To be accepted by the tribe, to be part of the group, was not merely beneficial, it was absolutely essential for survival and reproduction. This profound dependence on social bonds for physical security and genetic continuity forged an evolutionary imperative for belonging that continues to resonate within us today. Psychologist Kip Williams, through decades of groundbreaking research on ostracism, has illuminated the pervasive and devastating impact of being ignored and excluded. His ostracism model posits that when individuals are ostracized, they immediately experience a significant blow to four fundamental human needs: the need to belong, the need for control, the need for self-esteem, and the need for meaningful existence. These aren't abstract philosophical desires. They're deep, innate psychological drivers that, when thwarted, trigger profound distress. Take the need to belong. From the moment of birth, humans are designed for attachment. John Bowlby's attachment theory, developed in the mid-20th century, argued that infants are biologically predisposed to seek proximity to caregivers, and that these early attachments form the bedrock of our emotional and social development. This innate drive for connection extends throughout life. When we are rejected, this fundamental need is directly attacked. It feels as though a vital part of our psychological infrastructure is being dismantled. Consider the hypothetical, yet all too real, case of a new employee, Sarah, starting at a company. She is eager to contribute, to find her place, to form connections. She attempts to join colleagues for lunch, but they consistently make excuses or subtly exclude her from their conversations. They don't explicitly say, "We don't like you," but their actions scream it. Sarah's brain immediately registers this as a threat. The DACC and insula begin to activate. Her need to belong is frustrated. She starts to question if she's done something wrong, if she's inherently unlikable. Her self-esteem plummets. She feels a profound loss of control over her social environment, unable to influence how others perceive or interact with her. Over time, she may begin to feel invisible, her contributions unseen, her presence meaningless. This isn't just a bad day at work. It's a slow, agonizing process of social dismemberment that mimics the existential threat faced by our ancient ancestors when cast out from the protective circle of the tribe. Another crucial aspect of this evolutionary wiring is the sociometer theory, proposed by Mark Leary and Roy Baumeister in the 1990s. This theory suggests that self-esteem is not just a measure of our inherent worth, but rather an internal, psychological gauge, a sociometer, that monitors the degree to which we are accepted or rejected by others. When we feel accepted, our sociometer registers high, and we experience positive self-esteem. When we are rejected, the sociometer drops, signaling a threat to our social standing, prompting us to adjust our behavior to regain acceptance. This theory highlights that the pain of rejection is an adaptive response, designed to motivate us to protect our most valuable asset, our social connections. It's a sophisticated warning system developed over millennia to ensure we remain integrated into the groups upon which our survival, both physical and psychological, depends. Without this internal monitor, we might unknowingly drift into social isolation, a fate that, for our ancestors, was a precursor to death. The repercussions of social rejection extend far beyond mere emotional discomfort. It doesn't just hurt, it profoundly impairs our cognitive functions and depletes our capacity for self-regulation, leaving us vulnerable and often prone to destructive behaviors. Think of it as a significant stressor that diverts critical mental resources away from everyday tasks, much like a severe physical injury would demand the body's entire restorative capacity. Research by C. Nathan Duell and his colleagues, notably a 2007 study published in Psychological Science, has starkly demonstrated how rejection can lead to a state of ego depletion. Ego depletion is the psychological phenomenon where our limited capacity for self-control, willpower, and executive functions, such as impulse control, decision-making, and logical reasoning, is temporarily exhausted by an effortful act. Rejection, it turns out, is one such profoundly effortful act for the brain. In Duell's studies, participants who experienced social rejection, again, often through the cyberball paradigm, subsequently performed worse on tasks requiring self-control and complex thought. For example, they were less able to resist unhealthy food choices, struggled more with difficult puzzles, and showed reduced persistence in challenging cognitive tests compared to those who had been accepted. This isn't laziness, it's a neurological reality. The brain, reeling from the pain of rejection, becomes less efficient at managing its higher-order functions. The mental energy that would normally be allocated to careful planning or rational decision-making is instead diverted to coping with the internal alarm bells screaming, social threat. Consider the real-life example of a student, Michael, who has recently been subjected to relentless bullying and exclusion by his peer group. He's not just feeling sad, he's experiencing a sustained assault on his social self. This constant psychological pain drains his cognitive reserves. He finds himself unable to concentrate in class, his grades begin to slip. He struggles to complete homework assignments that previously seemed manageable. He might snap at his parents or teachers with uncharacteristic aggression, or make impulsive decisions he later regrets, like skipping school or engaging in minor defiant acts. His self-regulatory capacity is diminished, not because he is inherently undisciplined, but because the incessant pain of rejection has consumed the mental resources he needs to exert self-control. His brain is so preoccupied with the social threat that it has less capacity for academic demands or emotional regulation. Furthermore, rejection is a potent predictor of aggression. Duell's research has also shown a clear link between social exclusion and an increased propensity for aggressive thoughts and behaviors. When fundamental needs like belonging are threatened, individuals may react with hostility, attempting to reassert a sense of control or punish those perceived as perpetrators. The pain, frustration, and sense of powerlessness can manifest as outward aggression or internalized self-destructive tendencies. Imagine someone, let's call her Priya, who has been repeatedly passed over for promotions, feeling unjustly overlooked despite her qualifications. Each rejection chips away at her sense of worth. her control over her career trajectory. This cumulative pain can lead to her lashing out at colleagues, becoming overly critical, or adopting a cynical, hostile demeanor. Her brain, in an attempt to cope with the prolonged social pain and perceived injustice, shifts into a defensive, even offensive, mode. The subtle, insidious nature of these cognitive and behavioral changes often goes unnoticed or is misattributed, obscuring the root cause, the profound, debilitating impact of social pain. It underscores that rejection is not just an emotional inconvenience. It is a disruptive force that can destabilize our mental processes and profoundly alter our interactions with the world. The pain of rejection, unlike a physical wound that typically heals with time, often leaves a lingering, invisible scar, manifesting as a heightened sensitivity to future social threats and an insidious tendency toward rumination. This is because our brains are not merely registering the immediate pain of exclusion. They are also learning, adapting, and storing these painful memories in ways that can profoundly shape our future interactions and perceptions. When we experience a significant social rejection, the event isn't simply forgotten. Instead, the brain's emotional memory centers, particularly the amygdala and hippocampus, become actively involved. The amygdala, responsible for processing emotions and fear, tags the experience as threatening and significant. The hippocampus, crucial for forming new memories, stores the details, linking the pain to specific social cues, contexts, or individuals. This creates a powerful negative emotional memory. Consider someone like David, who experienced a particularly brutal breakup years ago. His partner not only left him but did so publicly, humiliating him in front of mutual friends. The initial pain was excruciating, activating his DACC and insula like a physical injury. But the pain didn't simply dissipate. Years later, David finds himself inexplicably anxious when forming new romantic connections.